So jumping right in, what was the audition process like going for these roles and how did you prepare to play them? Because there's some very complicated roles.
It was a super long audition process. There was a total of four auditions, I think, and the
Oh,
last
wow.
one was chem read, right?
Yeah.
I did a lot of coaching beforehand, and I had to learn how to do like crazy things like roll a joint for one. And that was very wild, but yeah, I don't know how it was for you.
It was about the same. I didn't really have to do a lot of crazy stuff like you, but I just worked with my acting coach for a lot of the auditions, and I mean, it was a fun auditioning process, but like you said, it was long, four auditions.
And okay, what was it like? Because obviously Animal Kingdom is a very dark and gritty type of show. So what was it like for you guys kind of stepping into that as young actors?
Well, I mean, really, the set and the crew and cast really protected us from all these dark themes. So on set, it never really felt like super dark. It was always a fun experience for me, at least.
Yeah, it had a great crew and cast, so I definitely agree with that. Like everyone was so nice and so like sweet and welcoming towards us. So we never really saw much of that, and I was never allowed to watch the show because it was really like mature. Um, so I never really saw any of that. But yeah, I think did a good job of like protecting us from that.
That's really cool. I've always been fascinated by that with shows that are like that level of dark when you have younger actors on board and you're trying to, especially because I mean even your characters had a lot of sort of dark things happening. Like you said, you had to learn how to roll a joint,
Yeah.
or yeah, dealing with some heavy stuff with Smurf's character and just how she projected onto her kids. So that's interesting. So I mean, following up on that, how was it working with the cast and crew at the time? Like, did you get any advice from them or guidance or anything?
It was really fun. I mean, I kind of got to create the role because I never had anyone to go off of, like Houston did. So I didn't really get many like tips on my role because that was kind of mine to create.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but I think Houston got some help with that.
Second that, it was really, really fun set. Everybody on the cast and crew was absolutely amazing. And I didn't get much tips and tricks like from the cast, but from the crew's perspective, the directors, they really helped me like try and really nail down the Pope character, and they gave me tips on how they wanted me to act, and that really helped me come and like become Pope.
That's really impressive because I think a while ago when I spoke to the actors who played the teen versions, I was noting how um, he did such a good job with the mannerisms. But I said the same thing about you, I recall at the time, because you just kind of really nailed, like I saw a younger version of Poe through your character, and I
Yeah.
was curious about that, like if you worked with like Sean Hattasy or if you had extra notes from the rest of the cast or the crew about it, because you did such a great job really nailing that character in a younger, as a younger version of that character. I was really fascinated by that. Both of you guys, I was really impressed with your acting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember in the chemistry read, we had to like work with a lot of different people going for the role. And I remember like being in the room with Houston and he just felt so right for it. Like I don't know, he just embodied it so well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Thank
you
you.
about that. So you guys did do a chemistry read because you really had sort of a natural chemistry as playing twins. I felt it worked really well. It felt like you guys knew each other well and can navigate being around certain doing certain scenes and stuff well. So I was curious about that too, the chemistry read aspect.
Yeah. It was fun.
The Yeah, the chemistry read, it was, as she said, lots of people, but yeah, definitely when we were in that room, I really felt like immediately like a natural chemistry with her. I felt like, yeah, I think she might be the the Julia.
Mhm.
Did you guys get to hang out just off screen then because you were like the only kids around?
Well, actually, after the fourth audition, our families did go out and we had ice cream right after the fourth audition.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. And are you
Yeah.
guys you guys still hang out or you're still close?
I
We
think,
aren't as close because she's in California and I'm in Arizona.
Oh wow, okay.
yeah. But we definitely hung out like a lot on set because like you said, we were the only kids. But I remember just like going off what you said about us like working well together. I remember one of the first days, I think it was the first day we were on set. We met some of the cast and they thought we were real twins.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, that was really
Yeah.
fun.
I could see that because you did. Like it, I had to look you guys up just to make sure when I was watching. I'm like, did they get actual twins to play this, these parts, or did they have like different child actors like coming in and complete strangers? But because you guys really did, you had such an easy chemistry and it just really worked, especially since Julia and Pope just relied so heavily on each other growing up. And I thought you guys captured that really well. It was probably one of my favorite parts of the flashback sequences. Hmm.
Thank you.
What was the most challenging part of playing these parts?
The most challenging for me was really like going into that dark place to play Pope. And it was kind of just because that's not me, and it was changing my whole personality to change into somebody who's so dark and twisted and has all these dark thoughts. And it was just that was hard for the first, like when I first got on the show, but after a little bit of working, it kind of got a little easier. But that was probably the hardest for me.
Yeah. I think a really hard part that I forget about a lot, but was coming back from the pandemic because in episode 6, we filmed like some of the episode and then we had to come back like a while later to come film more of it. And so the continuity part of that was really challenging and just getting back into that groove of being on set around all the cast and crew was challenging for me.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I really didn't. Like, so how was trying to film during that time frame different than how it is probably now?
It was a lot different because there was a lot more precautions. You couldn't do
Yeah,
a lot more things because they were worried about COVID, and it was still fun, but it was definitely a lot more like cautious and worrisome about COVID and not wanting the actors to get COVID.
yeah. Mm,
We had to come in for like COVID testing and stuff too, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Which that and then I don't live in LA, so we had to drive to LA to get that done and then just to come back home. So yeah, that was kind of crazy.
yeah. I really didn't. Now that I think back on that, I was like, that was around that time. I didn't even consider that. And I'm like, I know that was so complicated even for a lot of adult actors I spoke to at the time, trying to like stay in pods and trying to navigate all of that. And I'm like, I know that has to be probably infinitely harder for little kids. You know, it's you don't want to have to deal with all of that. But yeah. What I would say, what were the most rewarding aspects of playing these parts for you?
I think Animal Kingdom has like such a big fan base. So to be a part of that and to kind of elaborate on the story was definitely really rewarding because I even have like one of my soccer coaches like watched the show a ton even before he knew I was on it. So it's always cool just to have people be like, "Oh, you were on that? Like I love that show." So it was definitely a fun um show to be a part of.
The
Yeah.
most rewarding aspect for me was since it was kind of my first big thing, kind of taught me about how a big set can be and how the industry is, and it taught me how to be calm and what I can do on big sets and not have to be like worried about, wow, I just got this big thing, now I'm scared, I don't know what I'm gonna do on this big set.
That was one of your first big sets that you worked on. I am really impressed with that. I never would have imagined that. I'm like, I was, like I said, I was nerding so hard for all of you and the teen actors. I'm like, I was just really obsessed. I think I reviewed the show at the time, so I spoke about it often, I think, in my reviews. I was just very impressed with the performances. and stuff. You guys did such a great job. Um, were there any memorable or fun like behind the scenes sort of action going going on?
There was a lot of behind the scene moments, and the whole set was all the behind the scenes moments were all fun. The whole set was fun. Probably my like favorite moment was when Layla George she took us to the LA Zoo, and I mean she didn't have to do that, and she just did it, and it was really fun. Went out of her way to just make us feel happy and just to bond with us, and I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, that was definitely very special.
That is really cool. She seems like a sweetheart though, so that doesn't surprise me. Um, did you learn anything new about acting from this experience?
I feel like I learned a lot. It's hard to like put my finger on one, but if I'm, I think I just learned like a new genre almost of acting because before I'd done a show called Team Kaylee, which was a multicam comedy for Netflix, and I had done Bunked, which was also a comedy, and I did Good Girls, which was a dark comedy. So I never really done this dramatic of a role. So I think it really helped me learn how to get, I mean, kind of like Houston said earlier, like get in the headspace for that kind of role and that those kind of scenes and stuff.
Yeah, it really helped me with the like she said getting into the role because I never really had to do that before because all my auditions were kind of a happy audition. But when I auditioned for Animal Kingdom, I had to completely change up, and that really helped me. Working on this show really helped me like really narrow it down and get into character. So the most that helped me the most was getting into character.
Yeah. I think it probably has to be cool now seeing the resurgence of people kind of finding it. It's like you kind of think something is over after it's, after you finished it, and then here it goes, it hits Netflix, it's like blowing up all over again, and people are kind of experiencing your work all over again. That has to
Yeah,
be a cool feeling, I'm sure.
that's
Yeah.
really amazing. My dad, when it first came out, he was like, Houston, it's already in the top 10. I was like, wow, I didn't really think it was going to be in the top 10 for that long, but I mean, it's been in the top 10 since it came out.
It
And that
has.
was just such a, like, really made me feel happy. Like, wow, it's really popping off again, you know?
Yeah, yeah, of course. And it probably has, I mean, it's such a long time frame, and then it's like boom, and it kind of pushes you back in the spotlight again, which is really cool, I'm sure. How has being on the show influenced your goals? I'm sure both of you guys are still acting, yeah?
Yeah.
Has it inspired you to take on like different, broader roles maybe? Because I think you said before you usually did comedy, and now you have the range, to take on much larger roles and things like that. So how has that influenced you?
I think definitely, especially right after the role, it influenced me a lot because I started getting more, because once it was like on my resume and stuff, I started getting more auditions for that type of genre.
Yeah.
Um, and now, well, since the strikes happened, it's been like super slow for me. I don't know about Houston, but um, I still get auditions who are really similar to that, and it's cool to get auditions who where the character kind of I can be similar to Julia because I feel like I really like perfected that kind of character. Um, so I think it's cool to rework her almost.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Kind of changed my goals because before I really liked doing comedy and stuff, but after doing this, I realized, oh, wow, like I'm pretty good at going to a dark and playing a darker character. And it also just, it really, like being on Animal Kingdom really solidified that, yeah, I want to be an actor. This is so fun and I can do something super fun. If I want to, if I can do something really fun, I want to keep doing it. So, it just really solidified, yeah, me being wanting to be an actor.
Yeah, I really love that. So I think you both had difficult tasks in different ways because in some ways, Scarlett, you didn't have anything to kind of model after, which could sometimes be difficult. But then I think playing Hope was hard because he didn't do as much speaking, So it's like you had to
Yeah.
do a lot of like just full bodied acting, like all of the little nuances, facial expressions and all that, which I thought was really great. You did a good job with that. So I um I am glad that you are looking into expanding the types of roles that you take on because I think you both have a range for it.
Thank you.
Uh, which, speaking of, do you have any upcoming projects that we can look forward to?
Right now I'm auditioning, but recently I did a short film called Another Saturday, and that was entered. I don't know what you can watch it on actually, but that was entered in a couple film festivals, which was such an amazing project. But yeah, other than that, I'm just kind of auditioning and hopefully something comes up soon.
For me, I have a feature film coming out in October. It's called Goblin 2, which is a sequel to something I did before Animal Kingdom. So we brought back older characters, and that's it's coming out on Prime Video, I'm pretty sure, and
Yeah,
that's coming out late October.
awesome. And what would be your dream role?
Dream role, a dream role for me would be like I've always thought being like a superhero would be really cool. Like any type of superhero, I thought that would be so awesome to shoot and like work on.
My dream role is definitely like being on a show kind of like Modern Family or The Office, like a mockumentary show, because I love like comedies and especially like dry comedies like that. That's like my favorite. Of course I still obviously love shows like Animal Kingdom, but that's definitely one of my dream roles.
I remember how well you were in oh goodness, I'm blanking. The Good Girls. So so I could see you doing sort of like a nice dry comedy or even a dark comedy again. So that's cute. I love that. I like comedies too. I love the eclecticness of having like both. I can't just stick to one genre.
Yes.
So I definitely can understand wanting to get into a little bit of everything. Well, it was great speaking to both of you. I'm
Great
so
speaking to
happy I
you.
had the opportunity to do it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for having me.
Okay, you take care now. Bye.
You too. Have a
Bye.
good